Mark, I'll see you later.
It's 5:13. We're having a special meeting on site to walk the Pingree Farm Road. There's several people here. They've signed in. We'll record those in the minutes. Ryan's here from Tata and Howard. So all three water commissioners are on site. And Brent Baslak from the Conservation Commission is with us. Any of you guys coming? Are you board members or just you?
I only knew that I was invited.
You were. I didn't know if you would ask them to come. So no big deal. And so that's it. The rest of the public, some abutters and citizens. So I guess the first thing we'll just look at the agenda.
They told me I can't park here. I was wondering if I can park along the
So I'm just going to read this in so we have it. The on-site meeting with the conservation agent Brent Baslak to discuss the Mass DEP 2006 Sanitary Survey Compliance Plan Section B deficiencies. The access road to get to the water treatment plant is difficult. The Raleigh staff states that the chemical deliveries have been difficult in the winter due to overhanging trees, the narrow unpaved road. Guidelines, Chapter 2.2, the design shall at a minimum consider the following the access road. And there are supporting documents which will be attached to the minutes. So with that said, I'd like to thank Brent for taking time out to come after hours for this. Mary Beth, it's, again, it's an extra meeting and after hours, so thank you for anybody that came to attend. So how do we want to start? Do we just want to start at the end, or do you want to talk about what your perception of the road is? And I'll give you a shot
I'll
first.
just say my 2 cents, and then we can talk about the, the easements and the deeds and all that stuff. So basically, we have the access road coming in from Haverhill Street up the Pingree Farm Road, and the road is narrow. We've been having reports of difficulty of the tanker trucks, especially in with the canopy over the trees. We have issues with its views as coming up the road right now are horses. We have folks that walk, that live in the area that use this road to walk. So what happens is that the vehicles, somebody has to come to a stop, and even if somebody comes to a stop, there's no room for somebody to go around. And it has been difficult because of the layout with the trees. There's nowhere to push the snow to keep the road wide and open. So we had the DEP sanitary survey, and they gave us a deficiency for the inadequate access road to the treatment plant. Now I know before, this is the same road that was here, but it was going to a pump station. So when you have a pump station, it's different from a treatment plant. A treatment plant takes it up a whole bunch of notches compared to a pump station. So what we need to do is we need to widen the road, complying with any conditions, and if those conditions prevent us from doing that, then we're going to have to take a look at possibly looking at those easements, talking with all of the people that are involved, because there are several stakeholders in this road, including the DCR, because part of the road is the Department of Conservation. So there are several things to do, several meetings that will probably take place aside from this one, so that in the end, we're a good neighbor. We can continue to, get the deliveries and things we need for the treatment plant. And I don't think, as the people that live in the neighborhood, or anybody realize the amount of traffic that was actually going to take place on this road because it is a treatment plant. People are in and out of here all day long, every day. Deliveries, outside contractors for service on the equipment. So it is a very heavily used road, not just with vehicular traffic, but also the horses, the pedestrians, people walk their dogs, people, I've seen people with baby carriages. So there is a safety factor from my point, so that we can all share this access point and be safe about it. And that's my 2 cents.
Are ATVs allowed on this road?
No,
Or
I
in the
don't think
Georgetown
so.
Rally?
However, they do occur. They do occur.
Because
They
I've
do
met
occur.
a mountain
They're
bike, and I don't know if it's official or not.
mountain bikes are fine, but the motorized,
Not supposed to?
they're not supposed to be here. But they do come.
6 or 8 years ago, they had a number of public hearing sessions, and DCR decided that the Georgetown Rally State Forest, that they would prohibit ATV traffic due to the fact that they didn't have They came up with some different parameters. One of the parameter was the miles of trails and also the serviceability of those trails to withstand the wear of the tires of motorized ATVs specifically. And they analyzed this forest, and they did it with the input and cooperation of, I believe, an association of ATV or Off-Road Vehicle Association of Massachusetts, and came up with the decision that the state forest did not have the mileage of trails and also did not have the type of wearable surface that could withstand a motorized ATV.
Completely
use.
off topic and on my own satisfaction about fixing that the actual repair. Just finding out, which again, I've seen them, now and then when I'm out there. So that's it. Brent, do you?
The conservation restriction on the open space to my right here prohibits motorized vehicles with the broad-based definition of motorized trail bikes, motorized bicycles, motorized ATVs, motorized lawnmowers, any wheel, axle, motorized, driven, gasoline, or propane-powered transport, so to speak.
So, back to our road here. Is there anything you want to talk about first before we kind of just look down here and start looking at things?
Well, since you asked the question, there is a conservation restriction on the abutting property here, which is the Pingree Farm Condo Association, and I believe the area right here is a restricted area, has the conservation restriction in place, and I believe it mirror images the conservation restriction on this side, i.e. no motorized trail bike, off-road vehicles, ATVs, etc. And I apologize for waving my hand, but that way.
Yeah. Okay. So looking down the road, suffice to, I mean, what? Sure.
If there's no motorized vehicles out here, are they gonna stop the Herrick from farming it?
I don't know anything about that.
No. The same
Motorized
conservation
vehicles?
restriction specifically allows, as an allowed use, agricultural activities, including farming, row crops, hay crops, floral. I believe we could plant Christmas trees, I think, if they wanted to, but I'd have to look that up specifically. It also does allow forestry management operations. Usually when they say that, the caveat is that it needs to be a state-approved forestry harvesting plan that is then scrutinized and meets the criteria for forest harvesting, prepared by a licensed forester in the Commonwealth of Mass and reviewed by a state forester for its appropriateness. So agricultural usage and forestry is an agricultural activity. Most all forest harvesting, with the exception of a few horse operations, is usually utilized some type of powered equipment.
Looking down the road, first thing that strikes me is the one pine tree that's sticking way out. I mean, I think we all agree that one is one of the targets to get trimmed, cut back, whatever. Now is that, I don't know the map, the road, sorry. The map, the road is one big pine tree sticking out, if you want to look at that. What's the process? How do we, is that within the buffer or next to it, or abutting?
So just so that we're clear, just not one tree.
Oh no, I'm just saying that's the first one.
So there are a lot of large specimens that are encroaching into what's existing as the cart paths through here. And it is to widen it, to make it safe for pedestrian use and for us to continue and keep the, we're not looking, this was what our compromise was, to try to see if we could make this work, because we talked about paving, and that was not a favorable suggestion. So to try to do what we need to do so I can continue to run the treatment plant, I said, okay, let's do it in baby steps. Let's cut the trees, let's widen them, let's make it so that there's an area so if a car is coming up, the horses can continue along their path, single file, people can walk, and our vehicles can get in and out. What the level of it is or what's going to be the holdback, and the research we'll need to do, is to what do these restrictions and easements and deeds say for each of these properties. So,
To that end, though, and I've had conversations with Brent and yourself and some other folks too. I don't know if we need to widen it so there's a pedestrian horse path, similar to. I mean, while there is traffic here, it's not a constant flow. There's times when the guys are coming and going, and then there's times when there's trucks going. But the rest of the time, it's a pretty quiet road. I think.
I
you'd
live
agree?
right on the
Yeah.
right on the perimeter, and most of the time it's very quiet. There are times where there's traffic, but most of the time it's quite quiet.
And so to mitigate the impact of I'm calling it fixing the road. I'm not saying anything wrong, but addressing this. A lot of times lumber roads up in Maine, the Northern Kingdom, I'll call it. You go down the road and there's pullouts on maybe I don't know what I'm talking, maybe 3 pullouts here. One here, there. So that if there's somebody on the road, you've got a place, what you said, there's no place to pull up. You pull over, and it's got to be you work it out with the person you're coming at. Whoever's close to the pullout pulls in. Kind of the rule of the road, I guess, when you're up in the North Country.
but just to remind you that whatever we do here, because we have been cited as a deficiency with the Mass DEP, whatever we do has to comply with the guidelines in Chapter 2. And if the pullouts are not, I can tell you, pullouts are not going to be a compliant issue as far as the DEP is concerned.
Then we'll wait for the next sanitary survey, and like you said, baby steps. So we'll do that
but
this
what
way.
happens is,
Chairman Manning and I had this kind of conversation about the possibility, because there's a fairly clear straight line of sight, that there might be the opportunity for this utilization instead of having actual drivable surface that would accommodate 2-lane traffic consistently along the whole route, that there might be a strategy to have one clear route with obvious designated areas, because the clear line of sight would allow you to pull over, and as well as you could probably do appropriate signage that then would make it clearly evident to anyone in a smaller vehicle who sees a larger vehicle coming that there is a place to go. On my way here tonight, I apologize, I haven't been able to digest and totally memorize the conservation restriction that is on the Pingree Farm real estate, acreage, whatever. But I did see that it does allow pedestrian footpaths. We could possibly think of the same strategy that we just utilized at the Dodge Reservation on Weathersfield Street, where we created a walking footpath off of Weathersfield Street to allow parking in the existing parking area, and then access over to Smith Lane, which is the same status as being a cart path, woods road type thing. We did that specifically to separate pedestrian traffic from vehicle traffic. It is possible, in consultation with the Pingree Farm condo folks, that we could look and do a reconnaissance and have discussions with them and create a parallel footpath off of the traveled way and not getting into these pull-out areas, which would solve 2 things. Remove that risk and the sometimes uncomfortable nature of traffic and horses and pedestrians having to mix within the same corridor. That is something that is allowed under the CR.
I like less is more.
Pardon me?
Less is more.
Well, yeah, it would also eliminate some of the responsibility for development activity having to occur within the Pingree Farm cart path.
I just want to make a comment about, we're talking about riding a horse down the road as you would ride a bike, or you would walk a dog or a person. A horse is it's an animal, and if people come flying down the road, let me first make a comment. The men in the water department have been excellent as far as allowing us to come by. We try to get out of their way. They're very good. But other people coming in here, flying back and forth, and I don't want to be on a horse beside a road with some yahoo flying down the road and scaring the hell out of my horse and dumping me. And God knows if the horse could swing in and hit the car in the windshield or whatever. So you just have to bear that in mind. A horse is not a person, and if they're frightened by something, you can control some of them, but others you can't. So having it near the road, to me, is dangerous.
Well, I don't know how far in it can go with
Yeah,
regards to the,
It- yeah,
Well, it's all dependent upon the terrain here, but actually, the
But I just
reality
wanted
is
to
is
let
that
you know that
the
that's
reality
different.
is that we plan for compliance.
right,
We plan for people who operate their vehicles within the posted speed limit,
right.
who behave rationally, while recognizing that the bell-shaped curve does have two ends of the flange where people do not behave within the norms that are culturally prescribed or that the law prescribes. So we do the best we can and cannot anticipate erratic behavior. We just have to plan for people who will behave rationally, will operate their vehicles within the normal parameters that are posted. I notice 6 miles per hour is posted right now on this road. So there's already been an attempt made to try and slow vehicle traffic down to not cause the disturbance that you're talking about.
Right,
to
but I
that
just
end,
want
Gene,
you,
with what you're saying,
I just
when
want you to be,
try to plan it, I'm aware, because I got
Yeah.
lots of friends that have horses and
Right.
others, is that when we work with the condo association and Brent, you know, whatever, far away from the road as we can put it, you know, try to optimize it, I guess. It's the only thing we can do is, based on the terrain, is to optimize it for separation of people, horses, and cars.
I'm just saying it's not a given, you know, I mean, things happen, and, I mean, my husband and I try to expose our horses to everything, so they're pretty settled, but there are horses that don't do that. Oh, or, you know, it could be the wrong day, and whatever.
Nope.
So I want you to know that could happen if you're thinking of like squeezing it all together. We can't,
Are you trying to tell us that horses have bad hair days?
yes, they do. Absolutely.
No, I understand. Again, I've got some good friends that ride, and it's, and where I live here in Raleigh, there's people that ride, and, you know, it's education partly, and, you know, neighbors, I just say, you know, you better make sure that you go slow, because you never know what they're gonna do. Even horses that are calm and settled, I've seen spook a little bit. There's a couple of stables there. Anyways,
Yeah.
get back on the road.
Okay. Back
Um,
on the road.
But thank you, Gene. So, Brett and Mary Beth, what do we need? Do you want to walk down and take a look at what we're looking at, or what is this good enough? Just doing an eyeball straight down here, and know that we need to do negotiations with the condo folks
Well, I
because
think,
that easement on that side.
if I may make a suggestion now, I honestly haven't seen what you got written up for, nor am I that familiar with whatever the standards might be in chapter 2. You said?
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2. We possibly ought to look at that. We ought to understand the maximum size, clearance, height, et cetera, that's needed for the transport vehicles that are coming in. And then, then we probably have to do kind of a little bit more of a field reconnaissance than we did last time when we were discussing this. You know, I had eyeballed and said it appeared that there were a couple areas that could possibly facilitate without massive tree cutting to be configured to be pull-out areas, but we kind of need to know the vehicle size in order to be able to actually put some dimensions to that to sort of understand if we can at least come up with a summary sketch plan that would possibly give us some guidance and then allow us to start doing the real scrutiny as to whether these various conservation restrictions, whether certain activities proposed by that sketch plan would trigger the need for some type of approval process. The CR for the Pingree Farm condo acreage actually talks about cutting of trees or whatever and protecting the scenic vista of the Pingree Farm Road, but then it also says getting the approval of the Conservation Commission as the grantee of that CR. And so there appears that there is an approval process prescribed by that particular conservation restriction if tree cutting is contemplated. And as you have pointed out, and we can see right here tonight, there's definitely some trees that their placement certainly causes what should be a nice straight shot to have a couple of little snake deviations.
Well, it's also too with the snow in the winter and having them fall across. There's a myriad of issues.
Right,
Mary
right.
Beth?
So here's where I'm at with this deficiency. I'm working on it, with the help of Tater and Howard, to respond to the report that I got that the board had on the sanitary survey. They have given me deadlines and the deadline for this deficiency is September 15th, 2016. Well, what does that mean? It meant originally, because I called, that they wanted it done, which is virtually impossible, and if we were to even cut trees, we'd have to go out to bid.
That's ludicrous.
Right. So in the meantime, what I have made arrangements with the state is that I need to turn in my response before the 15th of September. So Brent, they're gonna want me, this is what they've asked me to do. They want an engineer's estimate on what it would cost for the project, because the big driving force for a lot of the deficiency was we can't just afford to go out and do that because the current fiscal year funds are spoken for, and we have other things to worry about. So before they will grant me an extension, I have to supply them with an engineer's estimate and a timeline that will be etched in stone with the DEP. Once they get that, I know it's not ideal, and I know I'm looking at your face, John.
Nothing is
I'm just repeating, I know, but I'm
repeating.
repeating what the instructions were given
Yep.
to me. And then they said from there, they will evaluate it, and based upon what I submit, they may or may not grant the extension.
Well, if they don't want to grant the extension, then they can fund an unfunded mandate. Bottom line, we don't have the money, it's not I mean, that's complete ignorance of the municipal finance process.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple. So, as far as I'm concerned, and then spending the money for an engineering estimate, I'm not even sure what that's going to run. I think our response is going to be, and we'll have to do this in the meeting, is, we've met with the Concom, with the abutters, etc. We're working on it. I'm not going to get rushed in with a gun to my head to come up with some cockamamie thing and say, on this date, this will be done, etched in stone. No. Let them come back and start the deficiency process. That's fine. We'll go through that. And by the time they get done with all of their paperwork and whatnot, we'll at least have an idea. We'll be able to talk to everybody.
And that certainly doesn't, it doesn't even sound reasonable when we have compliance with other existing statutes and in-place conservation restrictions to think that we could possibly plan, fund, implement, and execute something in less than a month.
16 days.
Yeah.
It was at 17.
Yeah.
You should see the deadlines that I got I should show you.
rational.
And then they wanted me to redevelop well number 2, which is about an $80,000 project, before October 15th.
So, with
Well, I
that
guess
said-
we could all come up with a pie in sky wish list about what we would hope for, but what is reasonable and
I
practical,
know.
as well as compliant with existing laws and regulations, which I would say is kind of the big thing here. I doubt very much you can have one state agency try to get you in trouble with non-compliance with a restriction sanctified by another state agency. We should put those two in the room and let them duke it out.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to get the other commissioners, I don't know if you guys want to weigh in on anything.
I totally agree with you.
Okay. Barry?
No, I agree. I don't think those things
I do.
are reasonable. In
Yeah.
fact, they're unreasonable.
So for tonight, I think what we're going to come out of this with is, we've looked at it. The abutters are here. Our primary, I call you primary abutters. Mary Beth and Brent need to get together, look at this, put the paperwork together, draw up a tentative approach. Then we need to have a meeting. I mean, I don't know if you have to have a meeting with your guys to approve it, but
Well,
I'm
I would
thinking you
say,
probably will.
you're talking about the response
Yeah.
to DEP. So my suggestion would be to specifically cite the recorded conservation restrictions, in the response, as well as the fact that I'd start off there, and then certainly there should be commentary about how public funds need to be scrutinized
Already
and
went that
actually voted on.
What's that?
I already emailed and gave them how we do business in Raleigh, and what we have to do to acquire funds, and it all has to go to town meeting. And then their response was, well, I don't understand why the Board of Water Commissioners has to vote on this. This is the town of Raleigh's property. And I said, well, the Board of Water Commissioner has jurisdiction over that property. Anything to do with water department, and
Well, but any municipal project,
I know.
the funding has to be authorized.
Brent, I got about $200,000 in projects that I don't have the money, and I'm supposed to have it done by October. It's crazy.
And I'm also only going to make the statement, which I know we all know intuitively, and that is it doesn't make any sense to start spending money until you're appropriately sure that, number one, you can do it practically, that it is in compliance with whatever restrictions and other existing laws and regulations. And again, number two, repeating for the choir here, but that it gets the proper authorization since it's the expenditure of public funds and needs to be vetted and authorized by the
That's why we're
public.
here and talking
Yep.
to appropriate people, so, I know, Bob, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Is that about the gate?
No,
Oh,
I was,
Bob has a question.
I thought the 4 acres was that 4 acres back there that the water department had.
4 acres?
Is the plants on?
Yeah.
We have 4 acres? That's not 4 acres.
I'm sorry, I don't have the information with me
Yeah, I
tonight as to
don't
what the
either.
exact
What's the
acreage
What is the question?
Is it on
The
4
rest
acres?
of it isn't water department. The rest of it's conservation land.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's why Brett's here, I mean, what's
Yep.
surrounded
Yeah.
by Concom property.
Well,
But
this side,
conservation property and
res-
condo
privately owned but conservation restricted.
and state forest.
Right.
Yeah, but
so-
that's actually back a ways. That's quite a distance up there. It's 400 to 500 feet to the actual boundary.
Wow.
This
Yeah,
is
you can
still
see the
all,
gate
this is still all
Yeah.
conservation area here.
Okay, good to know.
Now the gates is back there.
So at this time, I want to conclude this portion of the meeting and thank everyone for coming. We've had a problem occur in the water department today, which I don't know if I'm doing it the appropriate way, but we're gonna declare an emergency meeting with the water, since the water board is here. We're just gonna address it. You're all welcome to stand here and listen to us, talk about the problem we had. Someone resigned today unexpectedly, so we need to talk about how we're going to address that issue immediately. So, but that's it. Anyways, ready for to come over and talk and, so today, oh, actually, before I conclude that, any questions, folks? We move to the next agenda item.
Well, the road that you're planning now, is it dirt or paved?
You know what? I don't know, Gene.
It's not paved.
I think we're
Right
gonna
now,
keep it.
we're gonna try to work with the gravel road.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
again, the conservation
Yeah.
restrictions may technically dictate that to us because from what I've read so far, again, I apologize, I haven't read every single line of it, but there seems to be, I know on this
I think that's
access
all you
road,
can have is
this
that
is
there.
supposed to be gravel, 12 feet of gravel. I'm making an assumption that there's probably a statement somewhere about
12 feet
an
of
assumption that the Pingree Farm condo road is a gravelled access also, but I've got to do more.
I think to what Gene had brought up earlier, if that's a paved road, that would be a disaster.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah.
Awful.
And I know when the first time I ever came down here, I went too fast, and Gene informed me that I was going too fast.
Actually, Robert did.
And,
Oh, yeah,
and so, you know, again, didn't even think about it.
paving would be an invitation to speeding, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think a natural surface like this definitely slows people down.
There's already really, it's amazing how much of a courtesy thing there is going already with, you know, those of us that have,
You can't
you know.
bitch about the guys that work here. They're
No.
absolutely
No,
friggin'
they're
super.
great. They're great. It's sort of a two-way thing where people are, you know, the people walking are, you know, observing that the vehicle needs to go by them. They're like checking us too,
And
so.
that's what talking to Brett. It's like, you know, let's just take it and make it a little, take it just a little bit more to make it a little easier, and keeping it as natural as possible.
'Cause a lot of times I see the delivery guys going in and out, and if they're going slow and I can stop them, I tell them thank you for going slow. It just, I figure it's friggin' courtesy.
All right. Well, thank you all, and we're gonna have, again, you're all welcome to sit and listen to us talk about this other problem, but it's not related to the road. So you can look at us over here. So today, thank you, Ryan. Katie resigned, and she left. No notice, she just left. Unhappy with her
I
job, I guess.
wouldn't really discuss why or any of that. What we
You know,
need
it's
to discuss-
conjecture.
What we need to discuss is, we have already an existing staffing shortage.
Okay.
The workload isn't getting any better, and now I'm short an administrative assistant. So we were in this situation last year, and this is what I did, or the town offered to help me out. So I did speak with Debbie Egan, who is also the personnel officer, and I'm going to be reaching out to the administrative assistants that came forth the last time that helped us out, to see if they would be available to come in and work in the office again, as they did, to help me out with processing the water bills. Lisa Losey, who is the administrative assistant for the zoning board, would remotely be doing your minutes like she did before.
East Prussian German name.
What I've been instructed to do is to reach out to them, and then I'll be emailing the town administrator tomorrow to let her know what their availability is, if at all, because, you know, things change. From there, I believe it's going to be, you know, the personnel board and some other things. I forget exactly what we did last year. But here's my thing, the office. I cannot keep that office open.
They should have had the water.
I cannot do it. It's the workload, that, as I've been saying for 2 years, that is at a minimum an office for 2 full-time people,
Make good decisions
right?
without people
It's
coming.
fast-paced.
These are our very good neighbors.
I've been jumping in more and more because it just seems like we can't get ahead, the workload, and it's not because people aren't doing their job. People are working.
Thank you, Brent. Sorry.
Thanks, Brent. People are working to the point where it's like, oh my God, I missed lunch, or I haven't taken my break, and that's not healthy, because, you know, people need to take a few minutes to recollect themselves and then jump right back in. So it's fast-paced. We've been tracking, as I've been telling the board, incoming calls, outgoing calls, walk-ins, water board business when you come in. It's when we come in, which we're more than happy to accommodate, but it takes time away from us doing the day-to-day and dealing with the customers and whatnot. All kinds of things. The mail processing, we're a huge department. We should be processing our water bills that we pay every week. We're doing warrants all the time. You can see from the amount of times we have you call in. We're trying to do the warrants so that we don't have to call you in, because we could be calling you in every single day for something. We're trying to put it together like in a bulk package, like I brought one tonight for you to sign.
So my question is, with regards to 401 Central, what would it be if we just, you know, put a sign up, you know, not staffed at this point, please call Penachuk? Isn't Penachuk
will be
there for
having
us?
to put, yes, they'll be doing it, but the problem is we have local permit sign-offs. I will have to contact the treasurer's office to see if they'll help
For
us.
permits, sign-offs, then you just, I know, I used to get sign-offs for something when I was building a house here, and there's short windows, even, well, 25 years ago, you know, there was 2 hours, 3 days a week when the building guy was here. You know, they're not here 7:25, you know, 7:24 or 9 to 5, 5 days a week. So I'd suggest maybe you put, you know, 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon. I don't know if you think that's reasonable for permit sign-off.
But then I have to remember, I have to remember to be there. What if I
Make
get
it
called?
consistent that
But
it's-
what if I get called away? I'm never at my desk. I'm all over the place. You know, I could have to go up to town hall.
Then someone's going to have to wait an hour while you are there for that. I mean,
So the other option we have is I can call the town treasurer and see if they would sign off on permits for us. That's what we did. They're staffed, they're there. When town hall's open, there are 3 people. Last year, the treasurer's office helped me out with permit sign-offs when I had to close the office.
I'd rather, myself, when we were just talking about this, I would rather have you there for 2 hours a day. One in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, and people are going to have to deal with your schedule. Okay?
I will, so
and then
I
if
will
someone
try.
says, oh, Mary Beth, I need you at such and such, I'll be there. The worst that's going to be, Mary Beth, is an hour later. And or maybe just do it 4 days a week. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you want to have the treasurers doing it, or have Mary Beth there?
I mean, I think one way or the other, having, even if they're limited hours, it makes sense to have those limited hours. To the extent that we can meet them. The permits, sign-offs, I think...
How many do you actually have permit sign-offs?
We have a lot, because people come in for their license to carry,
Oh, the LTC
building
sign
permits, we sign off on all kinds of permits.
Does the treasurer's office know if someone's in arrears with respect to the
Yes,
water?
they call customer service and check the balance, and if there's a zero balance, they sign on behalf of the water department. We had no issues before.
Well,
I think that's the way to do it if they're willing to do it.
if they're willing to do it, yeah. I'd be okay with
I'll
that.
check with Karen Summit.
Yeah.
The next
So
thing
that
that
would
we
be
can,
both things, though. I mean, we're not saying one or the other.
Across the street from
So one thing is that you need permit sign-offs and go to the treasurer's office. That's whatever hours they have. And on the other hand, if they need to talk to you, these are the hours. Are we saying something different?
from my perspective and going through this already, okay, being by myself, I really don't want to have set hours. And I'll tell you why. What's going to happen is we're going to post these set hours for me to be available. I can tell you I'm not going to be there, and I'm not saying that I'm not going to try, because you know I always try and do whatever the board asks, but I'm thinking of the customer. We had issues. I'm telling you, they bang on the door. We try to close for lunch. They see a body. They don't go away. They walk around the building and they look for an open door. I've been there. If they want to get a permit sign off, they're gonna see you. Even if the doors are closed, they peek in the window. I see you in there. I need a permit. I'm not exaggerating this.
Well, then I just say put some kind of a shroud in the front door. I mean, that's it. I mean, you're open, you're closed. If you're closed, you're closed. And, you know, but...
Or the signage is simply all permits assigned.
Yeah, if they're willing to go to, Karen's willing to do it in her office, I think that would be just have a sign up there, all permit sign-offs will be taken care of at the treasure collector's office.
If she's willing to.
Because that's not everybody can hit an office at the same time,
Yep.
because everybody has different schedules.
Yeah, it's tough. I've had to do it.
Yeah.
It's a real bugger to try and get those permits signed off.
So it opens it up to the public a lot better hours by doing it that way.
Because one of the signatures is the treasurer.
Yeah.
They have to go there
They
anyway.
have to go there anyway, so they can get 2 signatures, check your taxes, check your water bill.
I just don't want to make an assumption that Karen someone's just going to
I'm
jump
not.
up and kick her
Yeah.
heels on
I'm not.
this. That's,
My preference would
asking a
be
lot.
to speak with Karen tomorrow,
Yeah.
see what her thoughts are. If she wants to offer up certain hours or whatever, I'll work it out. In the meantime, if that's not going to work, I will do my very best to try to come up with some kind of posted hours for our customers and contractors and to come in and sign off.
I would just put up a sign right now that due to staff shortage, permit, if Karen agrees, permits to be signed off downtown, and any additional work that you need by appointment only.
Yeah.
So have them call you up and make an appointment.
Okay, that might work better too. Thank you, that's a good suggestion.
I mean, I don't like it.
I know, I don't
I
either.
really don't like that, but
No.
in absence of, you know, it took a lot to get that position filled before, you know, and we still need to be responsive with the assets that we have, then do it that way. Yeah.
So the next thing we're doing is that tomorrow I'll be working with the personnel board to get the position posted ASAP
Yep.
and start the process.
Do you need anything from us to get that done?
I don't think so at this time. I think I would have to, the Board of Selectmen will have to lift the hiring freeze because we have a,
Which won't happen for a couple weeks now.
well, the board has just classified this as an emergency, a staffing shortage even more so. I will work with the town administrator to see about what the process is. Maybe we don't have to lift it, maybe this because it's already been filled, I don't know. But I'll work out that detail with Debbie and tomorrow and then whenever she's next available.
Just let us know what
And
you're doing.
we're
That's all.
meeting on the 6th.
Yep.
So I'll provide the board with an update of what I've come up with, what Karen Summit had to say, what transpired about reposting the job with, what happens when I talk with Debbie and all of that. But, you know, we do need to, we've come such a long way and we've made so many improvements and we've done such a a good job. I'm just, fearful for, the customer service is gonna go down because we just don't have the, a person full-time at the desk again.
I don't agree.
And
I
we're
think
gonna-
Pennachuck will fill the gap.
Okay. And we're gonna do our best. Bob Gray actually stepped up to the plate, and he was answering the phone for me today. And he did a really good job, but I can't pull him off to do that all the time. It was just, I thought it might have been a one-day thing, so that's why I asked for help. So we'll have a solution. We'll get through it.
Motion to adjourn.
All in
Am
favor?
I too late
no,
to ask a question? Because I didn't know the meeting was here. Can I ask a question about something else, or am I too late?
Yeah, well,
We
but
haven't voted yet, so.
we haven't voted yet, so I haven't called, but yes, certainly.
You need to say.
Anyone wanna-
Sherry David, Weathersfield Street. I want to know why the ball fields are being watered when we're in a drought.
You'll
That's
have
my
to ask the
question.
selectmen. We've requested them, they run well water, it's a town property. I've asked them to stop watering, and it's beyond our control.
So whose well is it?
It's the towns, and the town controls it.
So the town owns the well, the town owns the property, the town is watering the property.
We have no authority
drought.
over that property.
We've asked,
It's a
we've
private well.
asked,
We've asked.
we've asked.
Okay.
More than once.
So we've also reached out to the state, to Bruce Tow's office.
Okay.
Because it's not just us, it's a lot of surrounding communities don't have the statute and laws to prevent private wells from doing what they want.
But is this a private well or it's town owned?
It's a town-owned well.
So it's a town owned well, not a private well. And who has the authority? Did the town put out,
The Board of Selectmen, because they're appointing authority of the Recreation Committee. The Recreation Committee is the one that's doing it.
We've asked them and they just put a sign up, so we can ask again.
We don't
so,
have control
but
over
the
wells
town
that we
owns the
don't.
well, it's the town's water.
Yep.
So thousands of gallons are going on the ball field, but the recreation department has control over the town's well?
As far as
Their
we
own
know.
well.
No, this would be considered, it's like they're, let's just say the ball field is a resident in town, and they have a well that they're using to irrigate their property. This is not a well that we use for the drinking water supply. This is a well that is strictly used to irrigate the ball field.
Comes from the same aquifer,
The
however.
water well comes
But
from the
it
same
comes from the
place,
same
so
place.
I'm not going for that. I don't understand, I guess I don't understand.
It's
that
3 wells that they put in
The
themselves.
town owns the well. The town owns the field. The field is being watered. And a mandatory water ban by the governor. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. So
You're preaching
telling
to
me,
you're preaching to the choir.
We
here.
have no
I
control
want my
over
facts
that.
straight. The
Yeah.
town is refusing to not
The Recreation
water.
Committee is.
the recreation committee, so why do they
We've been
have
asked-
the
we've
power
asked
to
them.
do
You're
that?
asking we have no purview, we have no authority over them. We've asked. That's the end of it for us.
So are they a private entity that can use the town's
No, they're
well?
appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
That's my point.
Yes. So your
So
next,
but they have access to use the town's well as they choose.
It's not that, it's
It's
a
not-
it's a
it's not
private
any
well
of
they
our
drilled into the fields there. It's not coming out of the potable water supply. It's coming out of
But
the
it-
ground just to
It just seems
irrigation.
extremely irresponsible to me to be using thousands of gallons of water for that.
We have no comment on that. We have no jurisdiction. I guess is what I'm
Okay.
saying.
So my suggestion, Sherry, is that you write exactly what you just said. You write a letter to the selectmen. At the next meeting,
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna wait till the next meeting. I think it's something that really, I mean, I saw it with my own eyes, it being watered. It's
We've done
absolutely
everything in our
absurd to
control.
me because my next door neighbor is afraid to water her tomatoes because there's a water ban. And nobody, so this recreation board, nobody has any control over it. They don't.
Well, we don't.
we
interest
don't have
anybody?
control over the
Selectmen.
Selectmen.
So the selectmen do.
Yes.
Okay, so that's,
I just wanted to say, so our current water use restriction bylaw that we have, that's set up for these types of situations, does not cover private wells. In this instance, that we would classify that as a private well. The Board of Water Commissioners does not have jurisdiction over private wells, only our water customers. So I am in the process, and we're working with the board, to write an addendum to our existing policy, that bylaw that we have. I mean, it's going to be after the fact, but hey, we're going to make it right. And we will have the addendum, which will include all private wells in the town of Raleigh, no matter what it is you have, if you have a well, it will become under the same restrictions. How the town fines with their penalties, that will be something to talk about. But then what it will do is, during this situation, if it passes at town meeting, I'm going to be, and the board, at the next meeting, will be looking to bring that forth to the selectmen, to ask town council to work on this addendum for the bylaw to be included at the November 14th special town meeting on the warrant for the town to vote to include this. So that's the process that we're going to do to prevent this from happening in the future. But I would direct you to the Board of Selectmen for any
Okay.
questions regarding that field.
So I know that well, you're referring to it as private, but it's town-owned.
Yep.
The Raleigh Recreation Committee is in
Owns it.
charge of that well, and they're refusing to not waste the water on the ball field.
All I can tell you is that we have asked that they conserve water, and we've asked them to do it voluntarily because
Okay.
that's all we can ask. And what they decided to do, you would have to speak again. I would direct you to the
Okay.
selectman's office.
But you said that you've already asked the selectman
Yes.
office numerous times not to do that,
Twice.
to waste the water on that, okay. So the selectmen are essentially refusing to
I
not
can't speak
use
for
the
them.
water.
It's just, you know.
Well,
you
that's
have
the,
to ask-
that's the
you
sum
have
and
to ask them.
substance of it. You've asked them, they're not complying with that, so this private well that's owned by the town is every day watering the ball field.
Is it still
From the
happening?
Yes. From the
Yes,
same water that's, I mean, it all comes from the same place.
We've been flooded with
You can,
calls.
you
I know.
can say it's
I've been
well
stopped
water, you
in
can call it
town.
whatever you want, but it's not a private well, it's owned by the town.
But we've done everything in our control to
Okay.
address
It's not,
this.
yeah, it's not under our control, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you for your time. I just
And
need to
for
know
what
which
it's worth,
direction I'm gonna go in.
I did
Thank you.
approach
Okay.
Bruce Tarr at the state,
Yeah, sure.
at the State House.
Yeah.
Because it's not just us, it's everyone around here. And the town of Ipswich has only got 20 days worth of water in the ground. And
Well,
they're
that's the thing, just because you
17%.
can do it,
And
it
it's the
doesn't
same-
make it any less irresponsible to be doing it.
And so what I've said is, you know, can they consider when they, you know, address this emergency legislation or something, to have the state say, doesn't matter if you're public or private, no outside watering. I don't know if it'll come to
Yeah,
anything, but
my
that's everything we can do.
yard is completely dry, I mean.
Oh, it looks
I'd
like a
nice
dust bowl
grass
where I
too,
live.
but,
Yeah.
okay, I just need to know what direction to go in, so now I have the facts. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'll make
Thank
the
you.
motion again.
Ready?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Done.